We're sitting in the front room of my friend Elliot Mintz, and for 25 years he's represented some of the biggest names in Hollywood and the music industry, but until this day he's never sat down and allowed himself to be interviewed. So I feel very privileged to be able to ask him some questions tonight. I think you're going to find this fascinating. You have said that the job of a media consultant is to clean up what gets tainted and to magnify what glows. Explain that for us.
From time to time, celebrities, public figures, get tainted in some way. Something is said about them that's wrong, distorted, exaggerated, completely untrue, propped up, designed to poke fun, humiliate, whatever it might be. And one of the roles of a media consultant is to try to set the record straight, to level the playing field, to indicate that there's another point of view. That's the part that deals with clearing up what might be tainted. In terms of fanning an ember to create a glow that will ignite the log in the fireplace, you take what's given to you and you attempt to make it bigger.
And what qualifies one to be a good media consultant? What qualities do you have to bring to the table?
I can't speak for the others, you know. I just know with me, you have to really and truly care about the person that you represent. It absolutely has to go beyond cashing the check on the first of the month.
Why?
Because my work involves passion. There's no handbook on how to become a media consultant. You don't have to pass a bar, you don't need a license. It's different than being a lawyer or a manager or an agent. I can't do it. I can't look after somebody's interests with respect to the press and how they're perceived by the rest of the world unless I perceive them in a certain way where I see their light, or I recognize their talent, or I have a sense of love and camaraderie for them. I think it begins with that. Once you get past that point, then I guess it has to do with who you know in the media, how many years you've spent dealing with journalists and editors, that if something goes south for somebody, you're able to pick up a telephone and call somebody and say, hey, look, you may have gotten this wrong. Before you run with this story tomorrow, can I just give you another perspective on it? You can't lie. Can't lie. I mean, that was one of the things that we learned from both Richard Nixon and Bill Clinton, that the one thing that is off limits when you're dealing with the press, especially today, where there are no secrets and there are no pretensions of privacy. If a journalist, if the National Enquirer has caught your client with his pants down, you can't say that the pants were just kind of half up. You cop to it and say, okay, you got him on this one. And you go back to the client and say, next time exercise some degree of discretion. Try and be honest, try and be straight, try and be clear, try and be realistic, and try not to make anybody any promises that you can't deliver on.
And I would imagine that then the next time after you build up a relationship with said newspaper, magazine, TV station, and they have a track record with you where you have not indeed lied to them, then when you really have to pull that big gun out at some place down the line that something really tragic happens and it's really important that you get through to that guy, you've laid the groundwork of trust.
Yes. Not unlike any other profession. Right. You burn anybody once with making a promise that you're not going to deliver on or telling them an absolute lie. I've had the calls in the middle of the night that your married client was seen with so-and-so entering the such and such hotel in Barcelona. Do you have any comment? Well, you know, the first thing I'm going to do is say I'll get back to you within 15 minutes. I'm going to find the client and say, so how was Barcelona last night? And the clients know me well enough to just be straight with me. We live in an age now, Jim, where there is so much scrutiny, where there is, 24-hour coverage, where what is happening right now in Barcelona or New York or any place in the world is coming through on your cell phone and every other device possible that follows and tracks celebrities, CEOs, public figures. You'd be out of your mind to just stand up and outright lie. But you've got to convince the client that if a negative story comes out, but it was truthful, don't shoot the piano player.
Yeah.
Don't blame the consultant.
And don't even blame the reporter, although...
Do not blame the reporter.
Yeah.
Do not blame the paparazzi for taking your picture. You walked into the most famous restaurant in Beverly Hills on a Friday night at 8 p.m. Are you crazy? Yeah. If you didn't want your picture taken, call Domino's. Yeah. Find a restaurant 10 blocks away. So what's this business about somebody took my picture last night? How could you have allowed that to happen?
I rolled up in a Lamborghini in front of the restaurant. I had 2 women with me. What the hell? Yeah.
It's silly. Look, I've had a very healthy relationship over the years with paparazzi. Some of them are pals of mine. There's some really, really good paparazzi. There's a guy named Woody who's called the king of paparazzi. He's been around longer than anybody. And he's been documenting what's been going on in this city forever. He's got a library of 5 zillion clips. He's a straight shooter. His guys are on the streets every night, in front of restaurants and nightclubs, doing stuff. Guy's never been sued. Guy's never been called on the carpet saying you got it wrong. And in fact, there's a symbiotic relationship between public figures and paparazzi. I advise my clients sometimes to make use of the paparazzi as a tool to advance their own agenda. For instance, if you have a record coming out or a movie that's about to be released or a public appearance that you're going to plug and you're leaving a restaurant and there's some camera people and videographers outside, you can make a statement to them which will be picked up within seconds, beamed around the world, and you've gotten your free advertising.
Sure.
You didn't have to do your dance in a late night talk show in hair and makeup. You didn't have to have the studio buy an ad for you. So I always advise clients of mine, unless they have an extraordinary penchant for privacy, don't take the back door out of the club. Walk out the front door. And walk out with your head held high, without a baseball cap smothering your face. Don't try and make a beeline into a limousine or the back of an SUV. And it's okay to even say, "Hi guys, how you doing? What's happening?"
Yeah, because the fact is they are famous, and whether they enjoy the fame that comes with the work, it comes with the work. Some people, I would imagine, enjoy it to a degree. Other people seem very private. They just want the work. But I'm sorry, that's, if you're lucky enough to be successful, that's going to happen, isn't it? And you got to learn to deal with it.
I've represented people who have an extraordinary penchant for privacy, who have said to me, look, I want people to buy the record. I want people to buy the book. I want people to patronize the product. But I'm not going to do a dance in those television chat shows. I'm not going to get up early in the morning and do Hello Philadelphia or whatever it is. Your role, Elliot Mintz, is to make certain that the world becomes aware of whatever it is that I've got out that I want to share without me having to feed into the belly of the beast. That one requires a little bit more special technique. I've got clients who say, hey, look, if I come out of the restaurant, they want to take my picture, no big deal, but if I have my children with me, I have a thing about everybody in the world seeing the face of my 7 or 8-year-old. When I drop my child off at school in the morning, I'd rather there be no photography that would accompany that. And if I have an indelicate moment, and I just politely say, fellas, this time around, could we not do this? It was a particularly difficult airplane flight, and you don't know what I've been going through, and I really don't feel like standing here at the baggage carousel talking with you.
Right.
So, yeah, there are people who have said to me, less is best, and I've been hired by people who have said to me, if you keep me out of the press, you're my guy.
What's harder, getting them in or keeping them out?
Keeping them out.
It's harder to keep them out.
Oh man, if the media is hungry for a story, for a personality, a newsmaker, a Bernie Madoff, or whoever it might be who finds themselves in the barrel at the moment, and we all do and we all will, including me, and the press has decided to descend upon you and camp out in front of your front lawn, and they're all in competition for that first exclusive interview. What's happened to the newly deposed Miss USA?
Miss USA is keeping her crown. There was talk she might lose her title due to her partying lifestyle and underage drinking. But today, the co-owner of the pageant, Donald Trump, said she's not fired.
She left a small town in Kentucky, and she was telling me that she got caught up in the whirlwind that's New York, that we all know is New York.
Mintz is a publicist to the stars and an expert in crisis management. He says the Miss USA scandal may actually help Connor's future career.
If she triumphs, if she comes out of this as a healthier, stronger, better person and good role model, she wins. Whatever the trip might be at any given time, to isolate the public figure from the never blinking eye of the camera and the microphone is a far greater challenge than somebody of talent coming to me and saying, look, I recorded this CD, listen to it, I do, it's really good, and them saying, get me attention for it.